welcome back to round 2 of the Los Angeles Midseason Showdown here at Griffith Park. It is a wonderful sunny day. I have some food and some caffeine in me, so that's a fun combination for sure. I'm Regina Angley. This is Giovanni Costa.
Yep, the one and only. Sometimes.
Oh, I thought you said good morning, and I was like, I'm pretty sure it's afternoon at this point.
Yep.
We've got a fun round 2. I was not the one who chose it, but I'm the one who's going to benefit from this. So we've got Ellie versus Terran, and I'm super excited, and I love these two so much. I actually have no idea what either of them are running. So.
Nope, no, we don't have any idea what they're running because we don't have the team sheets with us. Cause whatever. Okay. But we'll find out as the game goes along. So they, we find out as same time that they are find out.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, we'll see how well we take notes without actually having notes in front of us. But I mean, I don't really know much to say about them except I think.
I have no idea. So let's go into the team preview here, and we got.
On your left side, we've got Terran with the Raichu Braviary, Charizard, Landorus there, and Kartana and Tapu Fini. And on your right, we have Ellie with that with a Charizard, Incineroar, Ferrothorn, Tapu Fini, Nihilego, and Landorus there as well.
These are actually really, really cool looking teams. No, it's
what do you mean actually?
No, these are like teams that I wouldn't expect to see, but they're like they make sense. They work. The Ferrothorn, I feel like Nihilego is a very underused Pokemon right now in the meta. It checks so many things really, really well.
That Continental Crush, though.
Exactly. And you got the Braviary from Terran?
Side?
Yeah. Which, I was very unfortunate to face it against off myself. And let me tell you, you don't mess with that bird.
Especially if you've got 2 Intimidators on your side like Ellie does. I think in a meta where you have a lot of Intimidators running, where Incineroar is still very well used, and Landorus, tapered off for a little bit and is coming back and is still like high up on usage, you can really capitalize on that. And having Braviary, it's one of the Pokemon besides like Lurantis who has seen kind of the most usage. So like that, Bisharp and Lurantis have kind of been all fighting for that spot of, hey, we'll take advantage of these Intimidators. And I think it's a nice matchup for Terran if Ellie has these Pokemon that are going to be heavy hitters, she's going to have to bring them at some point. But she's starting off with a Nihilego and that Charizard instead. It's not going to be activating any sort of it's Defiant. I kept wanting to say Contrary. Shoot. So yeah, Raichu Braviary from Terran's side.
Terran is actually in a really good spot here because, well, she's in a decent spot because like you can only fake out one Pokemon. However, the Raichu could potentially, it could be a Z-move Raichu potentially, and knock out this Charizard right away, or it could have something like I forget what the name of the move is that gives you a ton of recoil damage.
The Volt Tackle?
Volt Tackle, which would definitely knock out the Charizard.
But then Ellie's also in a good spot because she's got the Nihilego, and Power Gem from that is like can knock out that Braviary in an instant. You've got the ability for the Beast Boost there, but going for that Mega Evolution right from the get-go, again, the Mega Charizard Y, so 2 games in a row we've got the sun. Very fitting being in sunny Southern California. But the fake out, instead of going to the Nihilego, so doesn't want to take any sort of Power Gem, like I said, from the Nihilego, as Tailwind actually gets set up on Ellie's side of the field.
Very good play from Ellie here. She could have gone for the Fire move, but both
Tailwinds.
Both sides getting the Tailwind, so both sides are gonna have increased speed, so no, it doesn't really matter at this point. However, if that Raichu has a way to knock out the Charizard, and maybe Terran switches the Braviary into something that could resist a Power Gem, she could put herself in a really, really good spot here. At the same time, Ellie is just threatening so much damage here. If Terran doesn't have a way to stop the Charizard from Heat Waving, she could potentially get even a double knockout to a certain degree.
Yeah, I feel like in this instance, Terran has more of a passive lead versus Ellie, which, the Volt Tackle.
And much like I predicted, Volt Tackle coming out into the Charizard is going to do a lot of damage, and you'll be able to pick up a knockout. However, that Nihilego is now free to go for a probably Continental Crush if I had to make a guess. And guess right, I did.
Those thighs. I love that Z move. But yeah, I mean, we talked about how Nihilego is kind of one of those Pokemon who's been slowly climbing up in that meta again, and that Continental Crush is so nice to have. It's such a powerful Z move to have, especially against Pokemon like Incineroar. And against this Braviary, it's just gonna squish that bird, and it's just gonna kind of knock it out, and kind of a trade-off. And it's hard to kind of guess if that trade-off was worth it. That Beast Boost is gonna pay off so nicely there, and I mean Ellie now has the ability to bring in any of her Intimidators and not worry about that Defiant Boost.
Yep, and also like the Raichu has taken quite a bit of recoil damage here, so any move really from it would knock it out here. And now we know that probably is not a
a
sash Raichu. Instead, it could be a number of things. But and now this Charizard is not looking in a good spot here. You know, it's staring down a +1 Nihilego, so a Power Gem would easily knock it out. The Landorus, if it is the Scarf variant, it could just go for like a Rock Slide, or it could go for like a Superpower onto the Raichu and just pick up a KO.
So yeah, like Raichu doesn't really have that many options here either. I mean, Terran either has to switch it out and bring in that last Pokemon, or she just lets it go down. You know, it'd be nice to bring it in later for Fake Out Pressure, but again, Ellie kind of has a more aggressive team on this side. Like that Braviary and Raichu was nice as a lead, but once those Tailwinds get set up, even with that Volt Tackle, I don't think it has a lot to be able to do offensively here.
Charizard is going to stay in, is going to Mega Evolve, so it'll be interesting to see if Terran goes for something like Nuzzle with onto the Nihilego in order to get the speed advantage. But the Landorus is going for Rock Slide. Is probably going to pick up a KO onto this Charizard here, unless it's really bulky. Oh, it is.
Yeah, and both of them survive it. That Rock Slide.
Flinch and Power Gem. But interesting Power Gem onto the Raichu, so Ellie is going to get another Beast Boost. But this Charizard is now free to go for something like Heat Wave and potentially get a knockout onto this.
Or Burn. Oh, no, it gets a double flinch.
You get nothing because it got double flinch. So Rock Slide being the best move ever made. You know, if you don't have Rock Slide in your team, you're really missing out. And some really, really good flinches. Ellie shaking her head by the amount of hacks that she's just received. Now, I think Ellie is going to be able to easily take this game because Landorus is going to go for another Rock Slide. That Nihilego's at +2, so Sludge Bomb into the Fini is definitely going to be able to pick up the KO.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that double flinch is like really difficult. I think it's kind of interesting that Ellie went for the Power Gem on the Raichu, but it's also just like, hey, if you can go after this Charizard, like, why don't you just go after the Raichu anyway and just get that like quick, easy knockout. But yeah, I mean, Fini's not gonna be able to do really anything on here, and that is just gonna go down. That bar went down so fast. That was actually kind of sad. But you know, game one going very easily to Ellie after those trades off for that Braviary and for that Charizard. But
yep. But now the one thing that Terran does know that the Raichu could potentially be is the Volt Tackle variant, so she could counter that by going for Intimidates and stuff like that.
Well, I think she needs a better check against that combination that Ellie has now of that Nihilego and that Landorus, Ellie. And so I think, you know, knowing that, hey, that Charizard, that your Charizard can survive that Rock Slide if barring like any sort of like, you know, high damage rolls, but now that Landorus is faster, you don't want to give that Nihilego some Beast Boost, so you have to kind of really consider, if Ellie brings those two again, how are you going to make it so that you can be more aggressive against those two? Like, yes, Braviary Raichu was really good, but after that initial turn, it was a very passive sort of Pokemon there, and I think both of those kind of like not being able to take hits very well. Like, yeah, Volt Tackle took down that Charizard, but the trade-off was you lost that Braviary, and now the Intimidators can do their job.
Yeah. I think the Nihilego does such an amazing job there, but also knowing that the Nihilego is not the Focus Sash variant, knowing that's the Continental Crush variant, it gives Terran some leeway to figure out how to be able to maybe potentially get rid of it right away. I don't know. I mean, I know Nihilego doesn't have the greatest of defenses, but I wonder if a Volt Tackle from Raichu would be able to knock it out. It is a very, very powerful move. So it would be interesting to see if Terran would make a risky play like that and potentially try and get rid of this Nihilego, which gave Terran so much headache this game one.
I mean, Nihilego just gives me a headache in general. It's a very scary Pokemon. I mean, it's really fast. It has ability to like, the moveset that it has is a little bit terrifying, and I think it was very underrated, and being able to see it just kind of climb up at like this late in the season and just before, you know, a couple like major competitions, I think taking it seriously again as a Pokemon is something that people should be doing. And I mean, being able to see, you know, easy knockouts after you've gotten some chip damage on there, and being able to give it a variety of different items, especially the Continental Crush, it makes it a very scary Pokemon. It's cute, but scary.
Yep, it looks like a hat, and let's see what the Nihilego is going to do. A Nihilego and Charizard coming up for Ellie against the Landorus and the Raichu from Terran's side.
I appreciate that change a lot from Terran. Like, she still has the Fake Out Pressure, so she can still go after the Nihilego if she wants, or after the Charizard, and now she's got her own Rock Slide to be able to pressure, and I think it kind of forces Ellie to kind of decide she's going to have to make a lot more different choices than Terran has to.
I feel like if I'm Ellie here, I would probably try and switch Nihilego out for the Landorus, because then you get an Intimidate onto this Raichu, which we know is the Volt Tackle variant, and this Landorus. It also prevents Nihilego from potentially getting knocked out from a Z move, you know, Nihilego not having the greatest of defenses doesn't like taking Z move from Landorus.
Yeah, but double protect from Ellie's side of the field, so just kind of fishing out what Terran's going to be doing. Going to be stopping that fake out on this turn. It was going after that Charizard, and the Landorus is using Rock Slide here, so no damage on Ellie's side, but she gets a little bit more information, I think, from Terran, and burns, more importantly, that fake out. And now I think you can switch out for like that Landorus for that Charizard if you've got it.
Yeah, the Landorus switch in here would be really, really good for Ellie. However, you know, we don't know what kind of item this Landorus is holding, so she would have to either make a double switch to try and preserve Charizard's HP, or it's still a little bit risky, like depending on what you're going to go for here. Landorus coming out from Ellie's side, so going to get intimidated into both of these physical attackers.
And not taking a Volt Tackle if that's what Terran went for, which is the more important thing. Because
I think if I'm Terran, I would go after the Charizard here. I mean the Nihilego, because it gave her such a headache on the first game. Knockoff from the very interesting, but not going to do a whole lot of damage. And Ellie's going to come back with a Continental Crush, flexing those muscles, ready to crush its opponents into the ground.
Alright, yeah. I mean, Ellie like had that. I think it was kind of like they both sort of figured out what the other person was supposed to do, but that Landorus is taking a lot of damage, especially from that Nihilego still. You know, Knockoff not going to be doing much from there. Gets that knockout like very easily, gets the Beast Boost on there. This Nihilego is absolutely terrifying.
This Nihilego is already looking like a major threat. Terran, like now, the Raichu is intimidated, so it's not going to do as much damage. It lost a very, very powerful tool in order to take down the Nihilego. And now Tapu Fini is definitely not going to want to like take
that Sludge Bomb +1. And I mean, I think it's tough because it was having to make that call of which Pokemon would Ellie have switched out for that Charizard or the Nihilego and for the Landorus. And so I think not going for the Volt Tackle was just one of those, like, I can't risk making the wrong call in there, and Ellie really capitalizing on it. And so Terran losing that Landorus is really tough, because obviously it's going to be one of your heavier hitting Pokemon, especially looking at Terran Seifert. I mean, that Kartana would be nice at some point in here. I mean, especially like she has a Kartana in the back and she switches it out for like that Tapu Fini. Like that would be...
That would be very, very useful right about now.
That would be some next level stuff right there.
But the problem is, you know, if you have Kartana out, then if Ellie brought the Charizard again, then it's just going to get melted really, really quick. You know, it's not going to cut it, even though it's the Scissor type Pokemon.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so U-turn from the Landorus on Ellie's side is going to be going into that Raichu to do some more damage into it as she switches it, as she switches back for whatever she wants back there. I mean, we've got that Charizard, like you said, which we know brings in that Sun, but a Tapu Fini actually on Ellie's side, so kind of just both of them staring down. Volt Tackle, though, from that Raichu going into Nihilego spot, so I would have been so choice if she had done into that Tapu Fini.
You know, that... I think Terran really missed out, because if she had gone for that Volt Tackle last turn, like she could have been able to pick up a KO here at this point. And now she loses Fini. Raichu is pretty much
very
like
sad.
Like it has no health left. And
Nihilego's at +2 on that.
And Nihilego's at +2 on top of all of that. So it's not looking particularly good for Terran. But actually, it's still somewhat possible.
So
but
here's the thing: no matter what Terran decides to Volt Tackle, her Raichu's gonna get knocked out from it. Like, she either gets knocked out from the Nihilego onto the Raichu, or she picks up a knockout on the Tapu Fini. Either way, it's just gonna be this Charizard versus a Landorus in the back and
another Pokemon I think we haven't seen yet.
So I mean, we already know that Landorus can needs two Rock Slides to knock out that Charizard potentially, because it survived with 21 HP from the first game. But there's just not a lot that Terran can, I think, really do, barring Ellie missing all her moves or misclicking like crazy. I mean, the Volt Tackle, you know, Tapu Fini.
Into the Fini, not gonna be able to pick up a KO. And that Raichu is going to go down, and very likely that Charizard is going to go down with
a
it.
Power Gem right here.
Power Gem,
and
yep, that Charizard is no longer with us. We'll be going back to its Pokeball, and Ellie Homen will be able to win the round 2 here at the Los Angeles Midseason Showdown.
I mean, that was tough. I mean,
that Nihilego put so much work in there.
It's a Pokemon that I think people are sitting up and taking notice of it again.
And it looks like a hat.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that was just really tough, because I think Terran adjusted well. I think leaving behind that Braviary and bringing in the landers instead to have a little bit more offensive pressure next to that Raichu was a really smart choice. I think Ellie just kind of had like that upper hand in terms of being able to say, hey, I can switch in whatever I want. I know you have Volt Tackle, but I have Pokemon that either take that really well or resist it, and now you're going to be forced to make those choices as opposed to me, who can just like, I'm going to click Continental Crush and
I think I would have liked to see Kartana, even though like Ellie did have a Charizard. Kartana does check Nihilego decently well because it's immune to Sludge Bomb, and Power Gem doesn't do that much damage to it, even though it's a very, very especially weak Pokemon.
And I think having Kartana being set up next to Pokemon that could take care of Charizard really well, as long as you pair it with something on there, which Terran kind of had on her team. Yeah. But I think in the long run, when you have, I think Ellie also had, did she have an Incineroar on that?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got two Pokemon like that who can, go after Kartana really hard, I think that's part of the reason why you don't want to bring it. But that was still really fun. I really enjoy seeing Continental Crush. That Z move is great because I love Olivia.
Because you like to flex your muscles?
Yes, sure. What muscles I have? Why not? Anyway, we'll see you guys for round 3. Don't go anywhere. So stick around and grab some food, I guess.
Not from here, I guess.
Not from here. I mean, unless you're here, but I'm gonna go.